Hey, Steve, the original Get Out Deck guy, and today we're stepping into a conversation that's not just coming from the future, it's knocking on the damn front door right now because while everyone's busy talking about AI, like it's some shiny new toy or clever chatbot, there's a quieter truth sneaking in through the side door. Artificial intelligence is already replacing middle class jobs, not might someday, but like right now. Say hello, Damon.
Hello, Damon.
Today, Damon and I are not only doing the podcast together as we always do, but we're sitting side by side right here in North Carolina. And we're talking corporate roles, administrative assistants, customer service teams, entry-level analysts, content creators, even paralegals and junior coders are getting replaced and losing their jobs right now. The kinds of jobs that used to mean a stable life, a retirement plan, and a chance to grow. And here's the stat that should jolt you. A recent report from Resume Builder found that nearly 40% of companies that adopted AI in 2023 have already eliminated positions because of it. Not trimmed, not cut back, but eliminated. Today, Damon and I are breaking down what kinds of jobs are vanishing, how quickly the shift is happening, and what people can actually do to stay ahead of the curve. This episode is part of a reality check, part of a survival guide. So let's get into it because this one isn't just about money. It's about identity, security, and the American middle class as we knew it.
Steve, that was a really smooth intro. Did you use AI to write that?
Yeah, actually I did.
I know you did.
Well, I mean, I work on my AI skills every day. So I knew that there were certain things that we needed to talk about.
Yeah.
And so I plugged kind of like a bullet list. I plugged that into AI and I asked the chatbot, I'm not sure which one I used, but I asked the GPT, the AI, to go out and find me a statistic that was relevant to the show. And so that's how I found the Resume Builder statistic that it built in. But yeah, I mean, I use AI every day.
AI is not coming. It already came.
It's already here. And, one of the things that people are talking about right now is that the revolution is coming quicker than anyone expected because it already started with entry-level jobs. Some statistics that I read in researching for this show is that the vast majority of customer service jobs are being replaced as we're speaking, as someone's listening right now, by AI chatbots.
Yeah.
There was an interview that I saw yesterday where a guy has a company. They do 65 employees. And they do marketing and develop presentations for other companies. They're a multi-million-dollar a year company. And their customer service department is 1.5 people. Because all the rest of it's been replaced.
Yeah.
And I do have to tell you that, when I go on some websites and I need customer service, I actually, if there's an AI chatbot, I prefer to go to the chatbot because I can get a better answer quicker.
See, I know you're 20 years older than me, but I often feel like I'm 20 years older than you because I'm sitting here in Steve's office in North Carolina where it is hot as balls. And I just came from Phoenix and I'm wanting to go back to Phoenix. It was 117 yesterday. I will take that over the humid 98 degrees out here.
It's the humidity.
I'm melting. I'm melting. We're out here for a baseball tournament and my son is a catcher and I can't even figure out how I'm going to watch the game, much less play it and be a catcher. That's
when I heard it was at 5:00. But,
So anyway, my point is I hate the chatbot. So, I mean, you're going to get mixed signals on this because when I called my bank, this is me, I'm 47, but I guess I'm feeling 70. And I get this stupid, recording thing that's like, well, we can help you. And I have to go through all the prompts. And I just keep saying, representative. That's
AI chatbot. That's a phone tree.
Okay.
So an AI chatbot is like the website service where we host the websites. Okay. you know who they are.
You talk to me like I know who hosts our website.
Yeah.
You do all this stuff because I'm apparently the young old guy.
Yeah.
I'm not the techie. I'm going to need to hire an AI to do my AI.
Not a bad idea. But if I have a technical problem, I can go on there and describe the problem in the AI chatbot. And it will tell me exactly where I need to look and how to fix it.
Well, I think the trick with AI is you have to kind of understand how to use it to your advantage. If you don't understand it, then it's just kind of, it's like my dad asking me to program the VCR when I was a kid, right? I was thinking, how does he not know how to do the VCR? Like, how stupid is my dad? And now I'm the stupid dad. That's like, hey, Evan, he's my oldest son. Yeah. You know, how do I do this? So it's come full circle.
Well, I mean, a lot of the stuff that we used to rely on other people for, content creation, you know, even graphic artists, can now be done in an instant with AI.
Well, my son, he's 18, and he wanted to be a graphic artist. That's what he wanted to do. And we're getting ready to start college. And just recently, last couple of weeks, I had to kind of talk him out of. He wanted to get a degree.
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
Essentially in not like it was not graphic artist, but it was something along animation. That's what it was. And we start looking at statistics and, you know, demand, and we come across this interview with some guy from, you know, Disney or whatever, Pixar, was like, no, don't do this. You know, because they've got systems now and AI and things that they were talking about. They can do things, you know, from an animation standpoint in an hour that used to take, you know, or they, what was it? He used like, they could do something like in less than a year that used to take hundreds of graphic designers, like 5 years of development to, you know, put out this high quality Disney Pixar animated movie. They can now do it with all these systems in a fraction of the time.
Well,
and they don't need these guys anymore.
All right. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but there are tools that I can use today where I can take an idea and just be creative in my thinking and describe what I want to accomplish. And it will not only come up with the idea, write the outline, write the documentation, write the code to do it, but it will build the website and integrate a payment mechanism into it. And within a day or two, it can be up and running.
Yeah. So why, Steve, why are we talking about this on this podcast? Because there are going to be a lot of listeners that say, well, I'm not in data entry. I don't have an entry-level job, because we threw that out there.
Yeah.
But, you know, people need to realize this is not just worry if you have an entry-level job.
All right. Let's get past the entry-level jobs. So if you work in a department that does any sort of budget planning or forecasting, AI can do it better. If you do performance reviews or hiring.
Sounds like Bruce. That's like Bruce. Have you seen that,
that
comedian? Anybody that listens to this that's seen that comedian goes, your name is Bruce, there's a budget, go. I have to get that. That's hilarious. Sounds like Bruce.
If you do any sorts of hiring, AI screens resumes. You know, real people don't even look at them anymore. And strategic planning, tools like ChatGPT and data models can now do all of that. In fact, for people who know us, you know, my side hustle is selling on Amazon.
I can attest to that. I'm in Steve's office and there's a whole bunch of stuff, toys and things. And
I love a Star Wars helmet.
These are things that I don't think Steve plays with, so he must be selling them. I feel like I'm in a shipping center.
Yeah.
Steve definitely does the Amazon.
Well, but because I've spent all the time learning how to use AI.
Yeah.
I now can screen products that are the best for me to sell on Amazon and make money in minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, not every entry-level job is going to be hit right now today. For example, at fast food now, they're using AI to take orders in some places.
And again, I hate that.
Well, you might hate it, but
I walk into Taco Bell and they got the screen. It takes me 10 minutes to get the dang order on the screen. And I see the people in there and I'm like, just come take my order.
I'm talking about at the drive-thru.
Yeah.
The person that you hear through the drive-through speaker.
The initial person is always the fake one.
Right.
That asking me if I'm going to use the mobile app.
No.
Like, no, I just want a burrito.
Yeah.
I don't have the mobile app for Taco Bell. I want the burrito. Give me a burrito.
They always ask me at McDonald's. I hate that.
Oh, and McDonald's too.
So AI is not only replacing those entry-level jobs, but it's also replacing top executive jobs as well, because companies need to be smaller. So there are two things that we should talk about. One is, if you went to college and got a degree and have a lot of debt from student loans, and you're looking for an entry-level job, I got some bad news for you.
Yeah.
I think it's a given right now that if you are looking for an entry-level job, that you're going to build a career at one particular company and you're going to retire with a pension.
What about a watch?
You're not getting a pension or a watch. Bad news for you.
You're going to watch your job go away.
Yeah. So the future of work is going to have to be more nimble. And instead of having a career that lasts 20 years or 10 years or even 5 years, you're going to have to be able to pivot on your feet and think about what opportunities are there. Not everybody is an entrepreneur.
Well, half the listeners should have thought of Ross Geller when you said pivot. Pivot.
I know that one. That is fun.
You have to learn how to pivot.
So there is a risk. Nobody wants to think about this right now, but there's a risk that your job could go away.
Mm-hmm.
So what advice, Damon, what should we tell people to plan now, because AI is coming?
Well, first start with the title of the show. Get out of debt.
Okay.
You might be wondering why we're talking about this, and that's a big reason. You might not even think about, well, I'm at risk for losing my job or whatever. But even if you're not at risk for losing your job, if you have debt right now and you're spending your income servicing that debt, you need to come up with a plan to get out of it. I don't care if you file bankruptcy. I don't care if you settle the debt. I don't care if you pay it off via Dave Ramsey's way. But while you have income, you need to prepare yourself. And it's not just AI. They're talking about potential recession coming down. You should look at your lifestyle right now. Look at your savings. Look at your debt and say, how long could I last if, heaven forbid, I get let go next month?
Right.
How long could I last? And if that answer isn't 6 to 12 months, which I know for most people it is absolutely not.
Yeah, you need to start shedding debt now.
We need to come up. It's much easier to solve problems with debt, solve financial problems when you have income.
Yeah.
Than it is to wait until you don't have income and then go, oh shit.
That's right. People are saying it won't happen to me. But so one of my big concerns are these forever payments. The mortgage that lasts for decades, or the car payment now that can last for 7, 8 years.
7, 8, yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So
I remember when 4 years was like, wow, I can finance a car for 4 years? Great.
We don't know what the future of interest rates is going to be.
Yeah.
And so, for example, if you have a mortgage with a lot of years on it and you're in a variable rate interest rate loan now, while you still have a good job, refinance it into a fixed rate mortgage.
Yeah.
It's my advice. A car, can you downsize before the market or your income shifts? Because really a car just hauls your ass from one place to another.
Yeah.
And you think about student loans. Now, what do you think about, should people that have a lot of student loan debt right now get on like an income-driven repayment program before their income shifts, or what advice do you have?
Well, go back in time and don't get the loan. That would be my first piece of advice. But short of not having a flux capacitor in your garage, it depends on if they're, and again, every situation is different, right? You can't just start saying, if they're private loans, we'd settle them, get out of that debt. Some of them might be in a position where they're making great money and they're not going to be settling them. But with federal loans, it's such a moving target, Steve.
It changes every administration.
It's like, every time I try, okay, this is what we should do. Well, like we had the SAVE program that came out, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And now that's indefinitely on hold and is probably going to die.
Well, and the Department of Education is on.
So it's like, it's a bad situation to get in bed with the government, knowing that the government is constantly changing the rules, and you're trying to plan over 25 years for this crap.
Yeah.
Like, this is just, don't get student loans.
Well, okay, look.
And that's going to segue into, should you even be going to college nowadays?
Well, yeah.
It'd be a long podcast, Steve.
But I mean, if people went out and got a mortgage, okay, and the landscape looked like, I don't know what your mortgage payments are going to look like every 4 years.
Yeah.
They would be like,
could be 1,000, could be 3,000.
That's crazy.
Could be 0.
Yeah, you don't have to pay right now, but and you're going to take 5 years off. Then when you come back, you'll be in default.
Yeah, people were like, no, thanks. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. So the problem is that the logic of the math about student loans is overwritten by the emotional logic and assumptions that people have that they need to go to college.
Go ahead. Sorry.
We were talking on the phone, and I was telling you about a very long video that I saw of 3 company executives. And they said that these days, the idea of going to college to get a very specific degree, unless it's in a skill that a machine can't do, is wasted money, that people really need to focus right now on getting degrees in more kind of generalized studies. And part of that should be how to use AI, how to learn about AI. And the other part, the most important part for me is, I sit here in this office and this enterprise, with Amazon or whatever. And all of that is because somewhere in my life, I learned to adapt and pivot.
Yeah, you're good at it. You're very good at it.
Yeah. So
Steve's a lot younger on the inside than he looks on the outside. He's a tech wizard. Incognito.
Well, when I was, 40 years ago, somebody told me something I've never forgotten. And they said, don't be a techno peasant.
Which is what I am right now. So when I'm 87, I'm going to be doing a podcast saying, 40 years ago, my friend Steve told me.
Yep.
But no, I'm not saying that my attitude towards it is the correct attitude. I'm just saying that's my attitude. And I'm trying to change it. But I feel like everybody gets to an age where they're just like, do I really want to start over learning this whole new thing?
Yeah.
But you kind of have to.
You have to.
It's like,
all right,
it might not be fun, but you have to. Like, my learning days were in the past. Like, I already went to college, right? No, now you gotta, it's never stops.
All right. You don't know this, but last night laying in bed, I picked up my phone.
I definitely don't know that.
No. And I asked ChatGPT, basically how you or I could be replaced. That advice could be replaced. And not only did it write me a step-by-step plan, but it told me what code I needed to write, what tools I needed to use, how I needed to accomplish this. And what this does is it ends up with an AI chatbot based on all of the years of articles that I've written, all of the podcasts that we have done. And it takes all that advice and it creates an Ask Steve chatbot that goes over the general stuff and introduces people to you for, really, it's going to be...
all I have left is my personality.
That's right. That's right. It's going to be, hand holding and, come to Jesus.
I better have the best damn personality ever. Otherwise, I'm getting replaced.
Phase 2, build the Ask Steve AI assistant.
All right. I'm going to have to go back in time and take out Cyber9 systems.
Look, it even wrote the code for it.
Oh, shit. And that's the show, folks. I'm done.
Well,
no, hold on. I want to make a point before I forget, because you mentioned student loans. So everything has to tie back to debt, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's the problem with college. And I'm going through this right now with my son, my 18-year-old. We're talking about what should we do? What kind of money should we be investing? What's the return going to be? Here's the problem. Whenever we talk about student loans, we automatically assume people will approve. We're getting on the SAVE program, getting on the IBR. It's like,
we don't know those exist.
The math doesn't work for college. Why are we talking about forgiveness programs on student loans as if that's really how it's going to go? My point is, the return on college is not worth it. That's evidenced by the fact that everybody's talking about what kind of forgiveness of these loans can I get? I can't get a job to pay off these effing loans that I got to get the schooling, to get these jobs. They don't pay me enough to cover the schooling.
Yeah.
There shouldn't even be this forgiveness if it was a balance, it was a sound investment. The forgiveness would be very small. There'd be a certain small percentage of people that it didn't work out for,
right?
Whatever. At this point, there's not a certain small percentage of people. It's everybody that went to college for the most part, unless you're making a couple $100,000 a year.
Well, it's like what you're
talking. I've got baristas at Starbucks that owe $500,000. That didn't work out.
I know, it's ridiculous. And even those jobs can be replaced with AI.
So we really got to be thinking about moving forward. What is college doing for us right now? At minimum, it needs to be heavily analyzed before you just sign up for a loan.
Yeah, it shouldn't be an assumption that your life's going to be better. Yeah. But there is a way to use college that is advantageous the way that you and your son are doing it right now. Instead of looking at a 4-year degree, you're looking at 2 years of general education and training, whether it's in business or marketing or, I thought it was a snake on the floor.
What the? I'm definitely going back.
It's the black strap from your backpack.
At least I know the snakes in Arizona. No black mambas.
Oh yeah, we had a 6-foot one on the front porch.
Of what?
Black snake. Actually, it was a king snake.
The snake is a snake, as far as I'm concerned.
But you're looking at 2 years of community college, which is not $500,000. I mean, what is it now? How much does it cost to go to community college?
Oh, it's like,
what'd you say?
Somewhere between $2,000 and $4,000 a year, typically.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. And it could be, depending on what college it is, obviously.
Right.
But yeah, I mainly want my son to go for more of the socialization and just kind of figuring out like what he wants to do. He doesn't know what he wants to do. So why do you want to spend $20,000, $30,000 a year so your kid can maybe go and party and figure out what he wants to do? And it's like, oh, I'm not spending $20,000, $30,000. I'm signing up for student loans. Like, no.
Well, in a recent podcast, I think the figure I gave was the average cost for college right now, including room and board, is $35,000 a year.
Yeah, it's not, the return is not there for most of these kids. It's a huge gamble.
Well, I can use ChatGPT to do whatever English thing that I need to do. I can write a story. I can write a poem. I can write a song. I can write papers. Yeah, Or the Khan Academy. Okay. So the Khan Academy is developed.
Khan with a K.
Yeah.
Not C-O-N.
No.
That's a different type of academy.
Anyway, they use AI.
I'll be here all week, literally.
In schools as tutors.
Yeah.
Because one of the most successful education tools that there is one-on-one tutoring instead of going and sitting in a big class and being, part of a group.
Yeah.
And that's what these agents are doing now.
Yeah. So, I mean, this podcast is really going all over the place. This is stuff that Steve and I have been talking about recently. But when it comes to AI and job security, that article you sent me was, I think the phrase was bloodbath.
Yeah.
As far as, people losing their jobs. So, circle it back to get your financial house in order today. Why you still have a job, why you're still working, get rid of that debt. If you're spending $2,000 a month just servicing debt, imagine you could be putting that $2,000 a month away in a savings account, in a retirement account, in an investment account. So heaven forbid you do get let go or something, or you have to pivot, right? In a couple of years, it's a lot easier to pivot if you've got $100,000 in an investment account that you could fall back on while you're in this transition versus this debt. And some people say, you know what, I'll just go bankrupt if I lose my job. That's fine, but
what do you have left?
Yeah, and you don't want to be out of a job and then go bankrupt and then you have no cash and no savings.
Right.
Deal with the debt now. So if you do lose your job, you're already past the point of having to deal with the debt. You've got it done, and now you've got a little bit of a cushion to allow you to pivot or get retrained or whatever it is that you need to do, and be able to move forward, because chances are what you're doing right now is not going to be what you're going to be doing 10 years from now, 20 years from now.
You're not owed your next breath. You're not owed waking up tomorrow. And if people don't think about this now, they don't get real and think about it, talk about it with a friend or spouse or Damon. The problem is that when you run into trouble, you think that there are debt scammers out there now.
Yeah.
There are going to be AI debt scammers, because even now, the telemarketing phone calls that you're getting are not humans.
Yeah.
They're chatbots. And they will be experts in knowing how to manipulate you and get you signing up for programs that are just going to take your money.
Yep.
So, prepare now. So you need to audit your skills ruthlessly. Like, what parts of my job are repetitive or rule-based? Because those will be gone first. What parts require judgment, persuasion, trust, or physical presence need to be there? And those are harder for AI to mimic. So you probably got, 10 years on those. But
we were talking about, getting into the trades too. I mean, and this is not the same advice for everybody. Not everybody go quit your job and become a plumber. But especially if you're trying to figure out what your career is going to be, you're younger, what are you going to do? And maybe instead of going to college, you go to a trade school. You develop a skill. You know what AI is not going to be able to do? Put a new dishwasher in my house.
Right. Or crawl under your house and fix your AC.
Yeah. And I know those jobs aren't for everybody, but I feel like those jobs have come full circle to where now the plumbers and the electricians are the bachelor's degree types from 30 years ago, right? It's like come full circle. Like everybody worked with their hands 30 years ago and had skills and could do things. And that was just that's just the normal blue collar guy, whatever. I'm going to go to college. I'm super smart. I'm going to go get this great job. And now it's kind of come full circle to where everybody's going to college. It's no longer special.
Yeah.
Now you're special if you can fix something.
Wouldn't it be a great conspiracy theory if the reason that we're trying to get rid of illegal aliens that are taking low-paying jobs is so that Americans that get displaced by AI can take those low-paying jobs?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of those. Again, anything physical is going to be very difficult to replace. We're not saying you get out of the office and go do something physical, but you need to broaden your horizons. But more importantly, we hope that, you can stay in your career and keep doing what you're going to do. It's not going to displace everybody, but get your financial house in order. What's the worst case scenario? If you get your financial house in order and you get out of debt and you've got a whole bunch of savings and things are just awesome for you, you never get displaced, you never lose your job, you end up retiring. What's the worst case scenario? You have too much extra money?
Right.
Like you got out of debt. Like just use this as a motivation to get my finances in order. So if anything does happen, at least I can weather that storm.
So, let's say somebody right now is saying, well, I'm going to do a side hustle if I get laid off.
Yeah.
And we were talking that even the side hustles are changing now.
The side hustles are running up. When we did we were doing the Penny Stupid project, right? And I started driving Lyft a couple of years ago part-time. I thought it was great. I could go out and I could, make $40 an hour doing this Lyft thing. And I was like, for people that don't have a job,
right,
this is a great thing to be doing. It's super flexible. And then I've noticed changes just in the last 2 or 3 years in that. I don't ever drive Lyft anymore. I can't make anywhere near what I used to make. And it's even for me, the $40 an hour was like, well, I'll do it for the YouTube channel.
Right.
But now it's like, it sucks. Like I can't go do what I used to do. And that's even pivoted. And now you're getting, AI going into the gig stuff and getting robo-taxis and all kinds of stuff. It's all coming.
Well, and this is all going to run downhill because some of the people now, like on Upwork and Fiverr and other places, the people who live overseas that often get contracted out to do things like, I've got a really great, very intelligent Excel programmer that I worked with in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Those skills are not going to be needed because I can now get AI to do the exact same thing for me.
Yeah.
And so they're going to lose out too. Now, here's the other thing, Damon, is that over the last 20 years, so the middle class used to hold 60% of the wealth in America. Right?
Yeah.
As of a couple of years ago, it's now just barely 40%.
And still moving.
And still moving down.
Yeah.
So the middle class is losing wealth and also losing opportunity. That's why these kind of general skills and learning how to think on your feet, to Ross Geller, right?
Ross Geller.
Yeah.
Pivot.
To create your own career and do it in a smart way. And don't plan for something that's going to be more than 3 or 4 years. Like this Amazon gig that I've got.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know how many years I've been doing it now.
We started in 2002.
Okay.
Because we started the Penny Stupid project
in 2002.
When you did that, you got that idea.
3 years.
Said I'm going to do Amazon.
I doubt I'm going to.
Oh, I was told there would be no math here. 3 years.
I doubt that I'm going to be doing it 3 years from now.
Yeah.
Because it's going to change.
Well, it's already changing because I don't even do it anymore.
Right.
Steve taught me how to do it, and it was complicated as hell. And I did it with his expert tutelage. But then it just got to the point where they kept changing things, and I was spending more and more time doing it, and profit margins squeezing a little bit on certain things, and you were constantly having to pivot in there. And it was just like, it didn't excite me. So it was just a little side thing for me. It was great while I did it, but I don't even do it anymore just because things change so much.
All right, Damon, we should land this show.
Even AI can land the plane.
Actually, it can.
I know. I'm not a pilot.
I was watching a video on that the other day.
Of course you were.
Yeah, Garmin has an emergency feature in some new airplanes, like the Cirrus jet, which is a 4-seater jet, where if the pilot is incapacitated, doesn't respond to the controls, it will not only land the plane at the nearest airport, but pick the nearest airport with the best weather and do the radio announcements.
You know, I've always wondered that. You watch these movies where, like, is there anybody on the plane that can fly? Is there any pilots on the plane? Like, at this point, they got to have the technology. They have those simulators.
Yeah.
Why can't the autopilot also land the plane?
Yeah.
So I'm sure that technology is now there, right?
It is. And
we got Predator drones that can take off and land itself. Why can't a commercial jetliner do it?
Well, I think to add this Garmin feature into the new small jets,
yeah,
I think it's a $1 million add-on.
Well, how much is the pilot?
Yeah. Yeah. As you get older, you lose your life insurance. All right. So I don't want people to panic from listening to this podcast. I just want them to think about it, be contemplative, think about what they can do to eliminate unnecessary debt now.
Yeah.
And be prepared. Nobody ever suffered from too much money in the bank.
No. I mean, unless you're trying to apply for like FAFSA help for your kid to go to college.
Community college.
That's not a strategy. Don't not have money in the bank so you can get better help for your kid to go to college.
No, that's the strategy you need to have assisted living when you get older.
Yeah. Oh, that's that too. So there are times when it could be bad to have too much money in the bank.
Well, so like there's the Acorns account that I started when we did our podcast on it.
My son now has more money in his Acorns account than you do.
Yeah.
Because he does DoorDash and Instacart, and 60% of his money goes into his Acorns account. And now my 18-year-old is every couple of days going, hey, Dad, my investments are going higher. Awesome.
Yeah.
He's living at home, no bills, going to be going to community college, and he's learning how to do this gig work. And he's got his IRA set up, and he's saving a whole bunch of money to where we have him on track to where if he's at the house for 4 or 5 more years, which he probably will be, and that's what a lot of families need to even be starting to think about to help their kids. I mean, you help your kids by not having adult bills. I'm doing air quotes.
Right.
As long as possible, within reason.
He is doing air quotes.
Yeah. Steve can see him. But you have to make that time productive. Don't just have them sit there on the Xbox, until they're 25 and then try to kick them out. Have them working, have them productive. Not having bills, if they're not going to go to college, not having those student loans or whatever, put that money away. So at minimum, my goal for my son, at least my oldest son, is he will be set up when he retires.
Yep.
By the time he leaves my house, I want him to have a situation where when he retires, he will be fine. And then what he does in the middle is up to him.
So the reason I brought up the Acorns account is because it's little steps that happen little investments that happen almost every day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm planning now for the future.
Yeah.
And that's what we want everyone else to do. That's Phoebe's little investment account.
And Phoebe is how old?
5.
And has an investment account.
Yep, she does. And
never too early to start.
No, it's Granddude did that for her.
And that is the Acorns early, right?
No, I just maybe it is. Yeah, I just opened an investment account.
Yeah, the Acorns early. No, not that.
I
can't remember what it's called. It's because I want to set it for my other son.
Yeah, it's the something minor transfer.
Yeah. So you can, So even if your kids are younger than 18 with Acorns, you can set them up with an account.
They need a social security.
Yeah.
All right, Damon. This is probably the only podcast that we'll do together for the next year.
Maybe, because this was easy and fun. I only had to drive 2,300 miles. I drove out here to do the podcast. I'm going to drive home tomorrow. My mic wasn't working, so I drove out here.
Yeah, just you were in the neighborhood.
I was in the neighborhood.
All right, Damon. So until next time, I will see ya.
Peace.